Eddie Deen will feed your mind and your soul as well as your stomach, and you're going to find out why. Catering down at the Crossroads, you name it, Eddie Deen has cooked for them, has fed them, has flown over them, flown to them, and you're going to hear all the stories. You're going to get a lot out of this. Would you please welcome, it is my honor to present to you, Mr. Eddie Deen.
Thank you. I got my oldest son up here also. So this is Brent Deen.
How y'all doing?
These are my other two sons over here. This is Ray from New Orleans. This is Javen. And so we're glad to be here and be a part of the ZestFest. I don't know how many years we've done this, I guess since they've started.
Can y'all see us on screen?
Can you see this brisket? What do y'all see up there? I don't. Y'all see?
We can't see what y'all are seeing. What are y'all seeing right now?
Ribs? No, it's no ribs up here. What we got up here is potential. We got benefits. We got, just imagine the butterfly and the caterpillar fixing to unfold. Does that make sense? My job in business is caterer. We've catered over 87,000 guests for President George W. Bush. We helped him run for governor when he was running. When he became governor, we catered 2 inaugurations for him in Austin. We fed 14,000 people in 45 minutes at the first one. The second one, we fed 15,500 in 38 minutes. When Rick Perry, I was for that event, the first one we fed 13,529 minutes. What I was doing with the media, I was guaranteed we'd feed everybody in 30 minutes, and so we had 1 minute to spare. We catered 2 inaugural presidential inaugurations in Washington, D.C. We've catered, I don't know, if y'all remember, the vote was really tight in Florida. There was like 500 votes that was determined by the Supreme Court. Well, what they did to us, we had a 12-day notice. We got a few days before the inaugural, I get this call, and they asked me if I could feed 13,000 people in Washington, D.C. And I said, no problem. Then they added another 4,500 people, and on the way to the airport, I got a call, and they asked me, could I do another inaugural ball for 3,500 people in Washington? It was kind of interesting setting, because I was actually going to the airport, and it's the idea they're calling me to make the determination who's going to get to go to the inaugural ball was kind of cool. And I said, sure, we'll take care of them. One of the greatest feats we ever catered was Hurricane Ike, not Hurricane Katrina. I get a call from Red Cross. And they asked me, could I feed 13,000 people at 7 o'clock that evening? I got the call at 11 o'clock. And I said, do you want a hot meal or a cold meal? And they said a hot meal because these people coming out of Katrina deserve something better. These are the group of people that was in the Superdome. So one of the guests that was in the Superdome is on stage today. That's Ray Napoleon back here. Y'all give Ray a big hand. So as I was walking through the convention center, me and Ray, we connected. And so it took a while for Ray to come on my team. He had to take some of those habits from New Orleans to Dallas. So eventually, what I do for the last 10 years, I teach in homeless shelters. So what I do, I teach people how to go back and change adverse childhood experiences. What I look at, all people, children are born like a basketball. And so imagine the body and the brain is a ship. So what's on the outside of the basketball is the ship. What's important is what's inside the basketball, which is the captain. So what I recognize is in children, about 10 years ago in the shelter, I asked this question, when did you perceive your power taken away? And there was 20 women and 40 men, and everybody had the same story. A gentleman just got out of prison, made note that, Mr. Deen, everybody's 5 years old. So I went home and asked the question, what happens at 5 years old? And you learn how to ride a bicycle. And there's a bicycle back there in the back. Anybody can want to ride it, you're welcome. But the idea is the bicycle, you turn right, the wheel goes left. You can't ride that bicycle because you're programmed to ride the other bicycle. And what I realized at 5 years old, if somebody comes along and puts a knife in your basketball and there's no more captain, you become a ship with no captain, you start drifting and you start reacting to abhorrent urges. So Ray was one of those guys coming up to Dallas from New Orleans. He had abhorrent urges. So what I had to do is go back and teach him how to give up the story of New Orleans, how he was raised, the idea that somebody put a knife in his basketball. So Ray became the opposite person. Instead of having abhorrent urges for things that doesn't do any good, all of a sudden he had spontaneous remission, and he doesn't have those urges. How many years you been clean? 10 years. I guess that's when Katrina. He'll give Ray a hand. So Ray is one of those stories. He's one of my best friends. He harasses me nearly every day, so he's one of those guys that we stay connected. And what's powerful is the interactions. The properties of a system, properties of a school, properties of a forest, properties of a community or a city is the product of the interaction of its parts, not the parts separate. So the way I look at the world is like a car. If you take the motor out of the car and put it on the sidewalk, it can't move you anywhere, it can't move itself. So what makes the life of the car is the interaction, not the parts. It's not the motor, it's not the transmission, it's how they work together. My dad's going to be 102 years old. I know he's alive because of the interaction of his parts, not the parts separate. So that's how we think. I don't measure employees, I measure the interaction between the employees. So enough of what we do in the community, that's what we've been doing for the last 10 years. We teach people how to feel lovable. Kavian back here is with Man Up, and there's a group of girls back there working the booth. They're with Queens. They're from Carter High School, so the last 4 years, what we do with these guys is teach them how to feel lovable, go back and do the same thing, change stories of childhood. And so we've catered around the world. We take these guys, no matter where whatever it takes, these guys will come and just, set the stage for the customer, construct a great experience.
Well, he kind of blitzed through it. The bicycle, what he was describing was that at 5 years old, you learn certain habits. And the most common one is how to ride a bicycle. Well, what he's done is he's made this bicycle where you turn right and the wheel goes left. You turn left and the wheel goes right. And what happens is you naturally, your subconscious takes over, and eventually you're able to ride a bicycle kind of like driving a car. You learn this at 5 years old. But now your subconscious is going to fight you. So when you turn right and the wheel goes left as you're leaning, you flip. Turns over.
So anybody want to ride that bicycle, whatever I have left back there, barbecue sauce, brisket, whatever, I'll give it all away.
If you can ride the bicycle.
All right, let's start these ribs.
All right, guys. Today what we're going to do is, usually we'll take people's rubs and sauces and we'll glaze it and we'll smoke it with their rubber sauce. But today, since the Hot Sauce Festival, we decided we were going to put it on post. Now this has our rub on it, but we're going to go ahead and use these different sauces. You want to?
Go ahead and cut it up.
First off, we got Salinas. I know Salinas out here.
Salinas.
Right over there.
All right, look at here. This guy comes prepared.
All right, Salinas, here we go. Tell us about your sauce.
It's a 3-pepper blend. It's all fresh, straight from the farm to a jar in about a week's time. It's a serrano jalapeno with a light habanero taste. Got a little lime citrus in it to help it soothe in the preservatives. There's no artificial preservatives, no food coloring, no sugar added. It's pretty much fresh as it can be in a jar.
Thank you, and tell Mom I said hi. We are not related, are we? See the murmuring out there.
Go down to Salinas.
All right,
right here.
Salinas, you going to help deliver your ribs out to the crowd? Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys. Next we got Pepper Smack. Here he is, right here.
Pepper Smack. Do you know there's something on your head? Has somebody clued you in?
Can't help it. It's growing on me. We're a specialty pepper products manufacturer here out of Allen, Texas. We're a Go-Texan company. We have a barbecue sauce that won the 2014 Best Barbecue Hot at ZestFest. It's made with an organic ketchup base, and I think y'all will really like it. So, we also are running a special for till 3:30. 2 bottles for $15. So,
Awesome. Thanks, Pepper. He's going to bring his out to you.
Can you get it on?
We got any questions while we're cutting up here?
Anybody got a question, or when do we eat? Is that the only question? That's fine. That's a good question.
All right, Pucker
All
Butt.
right.
You out here, Pucker Butt?
Oh, boy.
Pucker Butt.
Pucker Butt.
Are you Pucker Butt?
I don't think she means the brand. No offense.
All right, Dad, can you?
Hey, Scott, what? Go ahead. Got a question?
Yes, well, we got a question.
We got a question out there yet?
I think they're raising a hand for ribs.
Oh,
Mr.
ribs. All right, I like that.
All right. No
I think
questions?
he's got a question. He's got a question over there.
Okay, here we go. Yes, sir. Let me bring you the mic. Here we go.
How do you cook ribs at home so the meat falls off the bone? How do you keep the moisture in the meats? If you cook a side of ribs at home, what's a trick to cooking the meat at home so the meat falls off the bone?
Are you smoking it or are you baking it?
Making it.
I mean, bake like in the oven?
Yeah,
Are you talking about ribs, brisket? What meat are you talking about?
Ribs.
Go ahead. You can answer that question.
So you're asking us how do you get it tender? A lot of times, people have the interpretation. Caden.
What we're going to send out here is pucker butt. They're the ones that has the world's hottest. I don't know if this is the world's hottest, but this is.
I think this voodoo. I don't know.
No.
There was,
Is it both of them? He's got two of them there. Come this side. Come on this side.
over here, Caden.
Back over here.
All right, to get the meat to fall off the bone, a lot of people interpret a tough rib as due to the fact that you've overcooked it. What you want to do is low and slow, obviously, which is common. And a lot of times you got to take it a little farther. See, what I do is what I'll watch for is on this rib, for instance, if you can kind of come in, you'll see the bone. That's the meat retracting. Then I'll look for a glaze across the top. That's the fat rendering out. And those are the two things I look for first. And what I'll do is I'll pick it up, and when it flexes like that, that's when I know it's ready.
Best thing to get those tender ribs is to go to Eddie Dean's Crossroad in Arlington, right across from Cowboy Stadium, and you don't have to worry about any of that. Let's talk about brisket a little bit. Brisket here is on the steer. This is about a 12-pound brisket, so it's about a 1,200-pound steer. And so the objective in a brisket, if you can imagine, a protein fibers is my arm. There's a bond between the protein and the water molecules. So in brisket, 95% of the weight is water. So the idea is you want a juicy product. A lot of times what happens is people do not cook the brisket long enough for the protein and water molecule bond to break. And so what you want is that juiciness to unfold. So this is raw piece of meat. It's got a heavy bond between the protein and water molecule. So as you cook it, it's going to start releasing. The biggest mistake people in brisket is they buy an old brisket. An old brisket to me is at least 30 days. Typically, we only buy 15 days or younger from slaughter. And so what happens when this brisket starts aging, that bond between the protein and water molecule will start breaking. And so by the time you get the brisket tender, the water has dissipated and it's not there anymore. And so if you ate brisket where you start chewing on it, and the more you chew on it, it gets bigger and bigger. What it's doing is pulling the saliva from your mouth, and it's like a sponge. Well, that's an aged brisket. So if you buy a skirt steak, anything that's got a lot of connective tissue, which I call it collagen proteins, it's really important you buy it as fresh as you possibly can. But grocery stores, a lot of different purveyors of meat, they'll say, meats in a package is good for 60 days. Well, I fight that all the time. I won't buy it as far as brisket 15 days. You can age steaks and some of the other cuts of meats, and that's not a problem. But you cannot age a brisket and think that's going to be a great product. So at 165 degrees, there's an enzyme called capsaicin. What you want to do is bring it up to that, and at that moment, that capsaicin will break down the connective tissue and start deteriorating the relationship between the protein and water molecules. And what I do, I bring the product up to 195 degrees, and then you've got to say hallelujah. Does that make sense?
Is Chantico out here? Chantico pepper sauce?
These guys are working in their booth.
Yeah, they got caught. Everybody was saying they can make it, but they're worried. Well, here's the pepper sauce we're going to send out. I'm actually sending out my daughter, Ceci, right here.
Who hadn't got a rib yet?
Go open up.
All right. Hey, Ceci, start kind of working down the middle, if you can.
All right, we got Rodax. I know he's right here.
All right, get up and say your story.
Okay, Rodak, tell us a lot about the sauce.
My name is Marvin Rodak, Rodak Specialties. The sauce we have for you today is our habanero endorphin booster. It's an all-natural pepper sauce, no enzymes, extracts, or oils. It's a mild sauce, full of flavor and good mouthfeel. Going to really be good and tasty for you. We're in booth 111, and be sure and come by and see us.
Thank you, Rodak.
So, who's wanting some brisket out there? All right, now we're talking.
All right, next we got, here she comes, Sadie B.
Fiery Food Challenge winner, Sadie B. Tell us a little bit about this sauce.
We actually have two sauces that he just used. The mango jerk sauce, which gives you a fruity with a little hint of spice on the back end. And then the other one is the jerk barbecue sauce, which is a different type of barbecue. It has a little back end burn as well, but it's sweet, and it's a perfect combination of Texas and Jamaica together. We're in booth 304. And we have a special any three sauces for $20. Thank you.
Go around the back.
Thank you, Sadie. Congratulations on your win.
And I'm about to do your other one right now, Sadie. Hey, Sadie, what booth? Did you say your booth number? 304. Here you go, Sadie. No problem, thank you. All right, guys, we got the sweet smoky jalapeno right here. Deb's Gourmet Jalapenos. Is Deb out there?
Deb.
Good.
There they are, right there.
Stand up, partners.
Deb. All right, tell us about the sauce.
Our sweet smoky peppers is just like it is. It's sweet and it's smoky, does not have that vinegar taste, and it has a great kick at the end, but not too much.
Awesome. You're going to help us deliver the ribs? Oh, come on up.
What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna send this jalapenos out here with some brisket.
Sure.
Hey, Scott, you got some toothpicks out there?
Hi, y'all. I just wanted y'all to know I'm with Jalapeno Hotline. I brought Deb's Gourmet here to the Texas area. Up until 12 weeks ago, these jalapenos did not exist here. They were only on the West Coast. And now, yes, they're in Texas. Booth 302.
Hey, guys, y'all should go visit her. Did y'all hear what she said? She said, hi, y'all. Ask her where she's from.
Toothpicks?
Irving.
No, no.
I got toothpicks.
Canada?
Toothpicks.
She got here as fast as she could.
It's a long walk.
All right, guys, we're about to send out some of our sauce that got us to travel around the world. I don't know if you heard him say it earlier, but we've been to Switzerland. We've catered in Africa. We've been all over the United States. Can you get that open for me?
In fact, a few years ago, I did a label for President Bush, and it was called the Western White House, Crawford Western White House barbecue sauce. So it was the #1 sauce in the world as a gift from the President of the United States. There was one time I was in Crawford, and we just catered a party for the Chinese delegates that was visiting. It was a tourist group, and the President, at President Bush's home. And so we're just finishing up, and so this white Ford pickup comes driving out of his gate, and he sees me over there on the side, and President Bush rolls down his window and says, Eddie, come here, I want to introduce you to somebody. Well, I had a case of his barbecue sauce in my hand, so I go over there, and he's driving his Ford pickup, and he said, Eddie, I want to introduce you to the President of China. So you got to imagine, I'm on the driver's side, so I reach in to shake the President of China's hand. He of course, my elbow is at the President of the United States' nose. So I'm reaching in, and I had this case of barbecue sauce, his barbecue sauce, in my left hand. So the President of China sitting in the passenger seat, I guess he never had a forward seatbelt on, and so he reached over there, and the shoulder strap caught him. So he's tugging on the shoulder strap, trying to, shake my hand, and he's looking down, trying to figure out how to get out of this mess. And I'm over here trying to connect, and so President Bush grabs my wrist, and now he's pulling me into the truck. So you got to understand, I still got a case of barbecue sauce in my left hand. So the President of China reached in, pulled the strap up, and came over, and we shook hands. And in the back seat, the wives was back there just laughing. And so later that evening, I went to the middle school where all the media was, how they followed the president, and they were all held up there. And I saw one of these guys, because I've been on all these trips with doing these parties for the President Bush, and I know all these media people. And so I told one of the media guys, I said, "You missed it today." He said, "What happened?" I said, "Well, the two most powerful men in the world, the President of the United States and the President of China, finally met up with the king of barbecue, but you missed the greatest picture ever taken." So all I have of that story is just the story. There's no picture, but it was one of the most unique situations a person could be in, and trying to survive.
He said that when this whole process was going on and he was being pulled into the car by the President of the United States, he could just imagine Secret Service
Trying to figure out what's going on?
trying to figure out what's going on. This guy's climbing into the president's vehicle carrying this box. It's crazy. When we go to Crawford and we're catering there, we've been doing this so long that they open kind of an express line for the Eddie Deen employees. Has that got like a real bad lisp to it? Or is that me?
I remember we were catering an event, and of course a lot of times they have those magnetrons, where in front of the tent. So it's funny, you walk into this magnetron, and all my guys this is what they got walking in with them. So they walk in, you can imagine this, that table right next to it. So they just lay all their weapons on the table, walk through the magnetron, turn around and get all their knives and go right into the party.
Well, what was funny about that story, though, is that they had a line for us to go through the metal detector. But it was taking too long for our employees. So what they did was Secret Service opened up their own separate gate for us. And now we're running in there with knives and, all kinds of different weapons. And you got, Rick Perry, and you got Bo Pilgrim, you got Don King. They're all over there getting patted down and wanted while we're running in the place like we own it. So we've been doing that. We've been around these guys forever. I used to be a police officer one day, and one day I'm on duty, and these Secret Service guys come in because we had some counterfeit money. And they recognized me immediately. They're like, "Oh, you're the caterer from Crawford." I was like, "Yeah." So we built a relationship all these years with them.
We got any areas of town with no ribs yet? Has everybody gotten a rib? Looks like we've got a blanket coverage, Mr. Deen.
Everybody's got ribs. All right. Well, y'all got to come over. Y'all got to interact. Nice.
All right, I think they're coming down.
I've got some brisket. Got some brisket. Any other questions out there?
Any questions for Mr. Deen? Barbecue, philosophy, catering, President Bush? Can you make it low fat?
How do you make it low fat? Which part?
Well, what you want to do is going back to my analogy of the captain and the ship. So the body and brain is the ship. What you got to do is find the captain, and the key is you're never reacting to barbecue. You're not reacting to coffee. You're not reacting to, in the shelter, heroin or drugs. You're always reacting to the urge, which is a neurological representation. And so really what you have to do is watch the urges. A lot of times people, they get abhorrent urges, and of course they start, nobody in the room would put water in the gas tank. So the idea is always be aware and focus in how you live, how you, present the world, your life to the world. That answers the question. It's not really the fat is the issue, is the urge for fat. Mm-hmm. Say it again.
The best cut. If you want like a lean cut, and you're at a barbecue place, ask for the flat. The flat, yes, and ask for it lean.
That's leaner. The flat is leaner. Of course, I like the point because it's got more flavor. The fat's got more flavor. The key is how much do you consume. But as far as beef tenderloin is $20 a pound, and so a lot of times you can take a product. Let's say a brisket is $2.50 a pound. You lose half of it. It's got about $5 a pound in the product. So it's 25%. As much as well. What we do is leave the fat on, but we smoke it on an indirect smoker, so the heat is separate. It's not underneath. It's not direct. You would cook a steak, direct heat, but any meat that's got a lot of collagen, connective tissues, anything that makes it really tough, you gotta cook it indirect.
A brisket's located right here on the chest of a cow.
And so your objective is to set the stage for the tenderness to unfold. The tenderness is in there just like tenderness is in you. So if you set the stage, goodness unfolds from everybody out there. If you set this, it's a couple of 100 degrees for a extended period. We'll cook this brisket here 18 hours.
Low and slow.
Or you can just raise your steers on a treadmill.
I like it. I like how she don't need a microphone. Did y'all see that happen? I like that. Thank you. Thank you so much. Any other questions for the Deen folks up here?
Everybody good? Everybody fed?
Guys, our booth is right back here. We got our rubs, which was on those ribs. We got our barbecue sauce for sale, and we got brisket sandwiches and different things going on back there.
Well, thank y'all so much.
Thank y'all for coming out.
Fantastic. Let's have a big hand for Eddie Deen and Brett Deen and the entire Deen family. Awesome, as always. Thank you, Mr. Deen.